Oh lordy. How you doing, everybody? It is Ben, aka the Fuseboxx, and it has been a hot minute since I've done a live stream. Well, I did do one a couple weekends ago, so scratch that. But I am here on a very special live stream as I have brought on a famous and powerful Lady of the Woods, Lady Alchemy herself. What is going on?
Hey, yeah, it's been a while for me too.
I know, like my campaign that I did in December, it kind of fell flat, so I decided to kind of take a break.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm just getting back into the swing of things.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, of course, it is a pleasure. Have things been going on with the campaign?
Well, the campaign itself, we can get into all of the juicy details, but right now it's been a bit stagnant. So that's why I'm on. I'm ready to talk about it again, and I'm halfway through fulfillment, so yeah, I'm in a place where like I'm fulfilling. So if you want to back, now's the time. It's a good time to back, and you'll be getting your book soon. And you know, the work's done. Just buy the book.
Absolutely. And I know that you in particular have had a much harder go of it than most, because you've had to deal with you've had to deal with like crazy things that I didn't even think were possible.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, thanks for acknowledging that shit was crazy.
So
because yeah, I felt a bit like gaslit at one point by everybody, and so that's why I kind of dipped away, because it was getting really weird. And not only was I being attacked, like it was just like even our side was kind of like, oof. Like, this isn't a good look, like, because it's not like I was fighting with a leftist. So, you know, fighting with a leftist is easy. It's easy for everybody to rally and say, let's support her. But I was fighting with, like, a former artist and someone that I had on my team, and it just looked like my project was a big mess. And it was really messy, and it just made everybody, even, like, our side, kind of just go, I don't know what's going on here. Let's just... I don't know. So I dipped out just to focus and get the book done, because that was the main objective. It was like, how do you prove everybody wrong? Just get it done.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, yeah, like, do you want to go into a little bit of what was going on?
I'm ready to get into it all. Well, I've been quiet for so long. There's sometimes I had to defend myself or kind of put things out there, but it involved a lawsuit. So you know how lawsuits go. You kind of have to be careful what you say, and then especially when you're dealing with like really nasty people in a lawsuit, anything you say, it like becomes another motion, and it becomes another like drawn out thing in the courts, which then becomes like money. You know, like cost me money and time and heartache. So it's like everything I said, I had to really be careful or not say much at all. So lawsuit's done. Book fulfillment is halfway through. I'm ready to tell everything.
Hell yeah. I mean, so I know a little bit about it, but I don't know like the full scope of what happened. I just know like your artist tried to Shanghai the book for himself.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds right. It sounds like a thing. Okay, so that's what you know. Like I was gonna say, like, what is your like perspective? What do you know about it? So, what is Shanghai?
Oh, I mean, like he tried to steal the book in many ways. Where like I think he tried to like make himself the main character of the book.
Yeah, it's weird stuff, man. Well, you know, the book is called Lady Alchemy. You know, I am Lady Alchemy. I was Lady Alchemy for like a decade in New York City. Hey, New York. And I was a performer called Lady Alchemy. That was my stage name. And I was in the like burlesque kind of circuit, but I did a little bit more like avant-garde stuff. I worked at a place that was basically like Studio 54, but like modern times. So it was like this nightlife theater kind of venue that was like a nightclub. It had like club kids people. It had like people all dressed up, you know, in costumes trying to come. And when I say costumes, I'm thinking like, you know, like when drag queens and like gays, they get all flamboyant and they come in these crazy outfits and they look fabulous. It was like that. It was like hard to get in at the door. It was very exclusive. Celebrities were there all the time, having their parties there. We would have Fashion Week was hosted there quite often for different things. We did Ferragamo. I performed at Ferragamo Fashion Week there. It would be, what is it called? Not cast parties, but like when like shows would do their like, I guess it was a cast, but I don't know. It was like when TV shows and stuff, they like have their parties. They like have not a launch party, maybe cast party. They would do it like there and stuff like that. So it was really exclusive. It was really cool. And I always thought of my character as like superhero because like New York City's like Gotham, you know, it's like Gotham City.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm like, you know, I was young and I was fit and I'm like in costumes running around at night. I always felt like I was like some sort of superhero. And then I have this like wild, like little conspiracy about my bloodline with the like Rh negative thing, the Nephilim, which is like a thing you'll see. It's a, you know, I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard of it. I mean, it's a thing in different movies and stories and comic books, Nephilim and all that. So it was really this like whole thing that I was like, yeah, this is totally like a comic book character. And I always wanted to do it. And I met this guy that does like comic books and he took like Coco, you know, like Ice-T's wife, the like Adrian Curry, the like America's Next Top Model person. And I met him one time in like 11 years ago. And it was like, yeah, it's gonna cost you like 10 grand to, you know, you need the writer, the inker, the colorist, like all stuff. And I was like, I don't have an extra just like 10 grand hanging around to make comic books. So I was like, that's put on the back shelf. You know what I mean?
Just
like,
write a check. It's fine.
Not doing that. So interesting though. So it was always there. And then when I got canceled and then there was all this stuff going on, and then Comicsgate kind of came around, and then there was like the campaigns were a thing, and it was like, hey, this is an opportunity where I can make this comic book idea come to life. And it was an exciting time to do that because I was canceled. So it was like, it hurt me for Lady Alchemy to like die. So, and like I wasn't performing anymore. And it was like, hey, like Lady Alchemy can have another life through this comic book thing. It's something that I wanted to do. And it gives her a new life. So it was really like exciting to do. Hold on, I'm just gonna, whenever I put like face powder on, it like makes my, like, is that like an allergic reaction? It makes my nose like running.
Oh lordy.
Like I think it's like the talc and the makeup. Talc's probably really bad for you. Anyway,
I wouldn't know, but you know.
I don't think it's healthy. I should probably not use the talc. But anyway, so yeah, the opportunity came, and I happened to have someone in my like circle that was an illustrator, and he was out in California, LA, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can get you this like famous Hollywood screenwriter." And I'm like, okay, cool, because yes, I have like the story that I want, like based in New York, and the Nephilim thing and the bloodline thing, and then there was like, let's take what happened to me with the canceling and not make it a political book, but use that as like a kind of motif for my story, and, you know, be creative with it and like take real life things and twist it and turn it into artwork. So that's kind of what I wanted. And you know, I'm not a writer. I studied math, and I'm an artist, like a performing artist. So
You're overqualified.
Well, it's a whole different thing, writing. So I was like, that is not my thing. And also, there's writing, which I could probably do if I have to. I've had to write things when I worked at Rebel or Daily Caller and news scripts or articles or whatever, you can pull it out of your ass and make an article. But Jay's knows the lore, so he might chime in with a little thing. I'll be like, oh, okay. But so what was I saying? I'm not a writer, so, and especially with a comic book, and it's the same thing with a movie script. There's a way to write it. There's a formatting, there's a style, there's ways of connecting the plots and the character arcs and all these things that I'm just like, it's not really my thing. Let me give you the basic idea of what I have going on in my brain, and you as a professional should turn that into a proper script and we can work on it, and it goes back and forth. It's not going to be a one time kind of thing. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. And then I went live with the campaign. The artist made some sort of, poster art and a little bit of sample artwork here and there. And it was all Lady Alchemy being fabulous, blah, blah, blah. One thing I felt a little weird about was that he didn't consult me about a lot of stuff, including the fashion choices. And I was like, if there's one thing that I do is make my own costumes. So weird that you kind of made my own outfit for me when that's my whole thing. You should consult me if we're talking about outfits or costumes here.
Yeah, that's a little sketchy.
That's what I do for Lady Out. That's what burlesque is. It's I'm not doing pirouettes on stage, okay? We have costumes. It's all big, grand costumes. That's really all it is, and you kind of do slow, little movements. And there's not much that we do on stage, but costumes is it. So that is where I expected to be consulted, as well as parts of the script ideas or this or that. But we went live with the campaign, and oh my god, it did better than I ever expected. I thought I was gonna get $100. Who's gonna buy my thing? That's an interesting point. This indie wrestling aces said the only way to become a comic book writer is to just go out and do it. That's generally what I do with a lot of stuff, is that I research and I put my thinking cap on and you just dedicate the time and you do it. But I wanted to, he said that he had a screenwriter who wanted to do it, and I was like, cool, I was also working full time, so at Rebel, so I was like, I didn't really have the time, even if I wanted to, I could now I'm housewifing it. So it's there are things that you can do while being a housewife and pregnant, so cool, that's something to do, but I was full time. And
hang on.
Okay.
Wants me to screw with the music a bit. Oh lordy. That's the first time that somebody's had an issue with the music. But yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's just gonna be a whole story. It's just so, oh my god, where do I even start? But it's interesting. It's a lore for sure. And so the campaign did better than I ever thought, and I was doing all these streams, and I was raising all the money. I got tens of thousands of dollars in backers, and I was like, holy shit, this did a thing. This is awesome. And then thank you so much, Indy. Thank you. Appreciate it. But so then my artist was okay, so I'm gonna need a few grand. And I'm just okay, but I didn't know how this works. And throwing a few $1,000s at someone all at once was really scary to me.
Yeah.
And I was but like, shouldn't we kind of figure out things a little bit more and like what's going on? I didn't know anything. I didn't even get the script yet, like all this stuff. And I was like, he kind of like really was being buddy buddy with me, and just like, but then when it came down to the money, it was like, okay, give me all the money up front. And I was like, but like, shouldn't I give you like a little bit first or something? And he was like, no, I'd rather have all the money up front. And I was just like, okay, all right, fine. And so I did it because I'm really passive actually, and believe it or not. And I like sent him a few $1,000s. I mean, it racked up. So like, I'm paused because like I don't want to get into like the actual dollar amounts, because then people are going to start nitpicking, and then it's like this and that, and like ultimately whatever. It's all out there. And if you want to like really get into the details, it's out there, and I would love to show it in like some sort of Chris Chan documentary style. Well, we will whip out all of the paperwork if we want to. Okay, but like it's, you know, a few thousand went to him like directly. And I thought that like when you give someone that kind of money, that it's like that will kind of light a fire under their ass to like do the work. Because like when I'm hired to do something and someone gives me money, I always, as a performer, Lady Alchemy, I make good money. And I always felt like, was that enough? Like, should I offer more? Like, yes, I'll take pictures with your, you know, with customers. Like, let's, you know, I'm always trying to like do as much as I possibly can, because I'm like, was that really like, you wanted to pay me like all that money just to dress up a costume and show up? Like, let me offer you as much as I can. And I expected the same kind of work ethic in return, but I never really got it. And like, a year and a half went by, and I like moved house and like everything. There was no artwork coming in, and I did get a script. Okay, and this script was from this famous Hollywood screenwriter. Was a Word document that was just like paragraphs.
Oh my God,
that's not a script. Like, we all know what a script looks like, right? And it's got like formatting. And it's just
I'm a screenwriter. Like, before I wrote comics, I was a screenwriter. So yeah,
that's what I got. And I'm gonna be honest, when I read it, it's supposed to be about me. So like, isn't that very exciting material?
Oh my God.
And like, it's when it's a subject is about yourself, like it's probably more entertaining for you to like get into, right? So I'm reading this script and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening in this script? Like, I'm not making sense of anything. Like, it's kind of boring me. And it was like, Major Gruber was all over the place. Now let me tell you, Major Gruber is the artist. The artist had this persona himself. Now, he wasn't a paid performer persona, but he had this online persona because he didn't want to put his real name and face out there. So what he would do is he created this Major Grubert, because MG, his initials are MG.
Okay.
And he would wear a mask and like this whole, what is it called? That Japanese mask that's like an emoji and it has like this big dick nose. So he would like wear that, and he would like do interviews, and he did this like Vice thing where he thought he was really cool with Baked Alaska, and he would call himself like the mimetic magician, like, and he would talk about mimetic warrior and like how he's influenced millions through his memes and like all this stuff. And this was his like character. And it was basically the main character in my story.
Oh my God.
What the fuck? You just inserted yourself into my book. But not only that, the story was just really bad. And like Lady Alchemy was always frail. She was always like, what? Why? Why is this? Oh my God, am I going crazy? And he was like, no, you're just seeing the world for what it is. Like, everything was a rip of like the Matrix, of every movie he thought was really cool, which the Matrix was his favorite.
Oh God.
And so it was all like a mix of that, where he's like, no, you're seeing the world for what it is, and you know, oh, I'll let you know. And he would like push me aside to get on the motorcycle, and I had to ride in the back. And he's like, but where are we going? Oh my God. And it was just like,
oh my God.
No, we're not going to that train station. We're going there. And we're going, and then he like waves his hand, and things turn into like 1920s New York. I don't know why. This has nothing to do with what I want in my book.
His writing style sounds 1920s. So I mean,
it was so bad. It was so bad. It's comical. So now that everything's over, it is really interesting. Actually, the script. It's fucking fantastic, and it's public domain because it was in a lawsuit. So you can look it up in the court filings and read what the fuck he wanted this script to be. So anyway, I paid him all this money anyway. So I kind of felt stuck. And then I had all the money poured into like the merchandise. I had like the shirts and the posters and, you know, like money. Self-doubt is your kryptonite, says Jay. That's an actual quote from the script. Self-doubt is your kryptonite. It's fantastic and not the way he intended. And so all this money just kept like being poured out, and he kept telling me to spend money. Oh, he got his buddy Steve Taylor in California to like, oh, I'll get him to make you posters. Like, let's get posters printed. And next thing you know, I'm getting a quote for like $2,000 for fucking posters, and I'm like, dude, $2,000.
Oh my God.
Thousands of dollars are constantly like, pay for this, pay for this, pay for this, pay for this. And I'm just like, I don't need $2,000 worth of posters. I was like, I need like 300. Like, I don't know. What the fuck are you doing? 2,000 like worth of posters? And I was like, oh. Anyway. So next thing I know, I'm getting an invoice for $1,500, or no, it was $1,000. And I was like, $1,000 for fucking poster? I was like, I don't need that many. And I was like, whatever. And I was like busy working, so I was just like, whatever. Let me just pay it and just like be done with it. Like, just pay the money. So next thing you know, okay, posters are being printed. Oh, they look so good. Check them out. Check them out. Oh, posters are being printed. And then I get another invoice for $1,000, and I go, didn't I pay this already? Oh no, that was half. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, whatever. And I like pay for the posters, $2,000, 90 pounds of goddamn posters that I still have that I'm paying, put in storage that I'm paying for now. It's been years later. So it's just like he constantly like kind of got all his buddies to make money off of me. And like just like siphon the money and like money from me. And then like a year and a half goes by, and it's just like all this bullshit money being paid to everybody, all his buddies. It was like, wait a minute. Now I have backers kind of up my ass going, well, where's the book? Where's the book? And I'm just like, yeah, good fucking question. Mom, where's the book? You know, like, where's this fucking book? Like, I need pages, dude. And then I was also really unhappy because of this script that I explained to you. It was really bad. I was concerned, but I'm really passive and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I thought that maybe I'm not understanding because I'm not really like a word script kind of maybe I'm not seeing the vision. Okay, so maybe his artwork will kind of come together with the script and things will make more sense. And and sorry, I have to like not look at the comments. It distracts me. So I was like, maybe things will make more sense when the artwork starts coming in. It'll like the pieces fit, and I'll see the vision that they're saying is so great because I'm not seeing it. But like whatever artwork was coming in was of Major Gruber. Like everything, every page was Major Gruber. Major Gruber walking through the club. Major Gruber walking through Coney Island, which I've been to twice in my life, and I'm born and raised in New York. And I'm just like, why are you in Coney Island? And like, what's going on? Like, and then we're going to like Madison Square Garden and like all these places that are like, I'm sorry, they're like what people that aren't from New York think of New York. Like if you're a real New Yorker, you're not hanging out in like Times Square, you know? You don't hang out there. And it was like, why didn't they consult me about like these like Lower East Side artsy places or like Brooklyn or like somewhere that's like, where did you hang? Like what is like, where's your I remember the writer was like, is there a place you always wanted to work, like Radio City Music Hall? I'm like, dude, no. It's not like I want to be a fucking Rockette. Is that what you think that like making it is for me? That I'm like a rockette? Because no, I worked at like the place that I dreamed of working. Okay, it's called the Box. It was basically, like I said, Studio 54 of today. Like it was the hip, cool spot that was hard to get into. That was like that's where I worked. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Radio City Music Hall, like fucking tourist shit. Okay, so then, what was I gonna say? So he wrote himself into everything. It was just like Major Goobert was every page, and I was like, fuck, like my backers are not going to like this. This is not good. And so I tried to get into the script and kind of make it make sense for me and say, this is how can we do this? Like, what are these demons called? Like, you call things doppelgangers or whatever. And I'm like trying to make sense of like, what's a doppelganger? What are the green demons you have? Like, what? Like, can we dig into like some Christian lore and put like real names to these things, you know, like let's find a Christian demonic demon name, you know, and use their, you know, attributes and characteristics and have that be like an actual thing instead of just red and green demon people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, can we add some depth to this a little bit? And he would tell me, don't mess with the script.
The fuck?
And I'm like, okay. And then I was like, well, where's the like bloodline thing? Where's the Nephilim thing? Oh, we'll do that in another book down the line. See, I have this idea for like 10 books, and you know, we're gonna go to a different country every single one, and we're gonna go to Germany and play with Nazis at some point. Then we're gonna go to Israel and we're gonna fight Moloch and I'm like, what the fuck? Now I have to deal with you for 10 books with this like neo-Nazi shit?
Nope.
No, I don't want any of this. Like, I was trying to just get this done, and hopefully my backers weren't like disappointed enough where like I could just like start over again with my book like for book 2. And then it got to a point where I'm on like streams with him, not streams, like Skype calls, and him, and I thought that the writer maybe could be like the middleman because he was being like out of control. Oh, and then I found out, I was like, how can I fix this Major Goobert thing? Like, I don't like that he's all over my book. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do? So I like Google Major Goobert, and I find out that it is a copyrighted character. It's in like Mobius. Do you know Mobius? Like,
I've like vaguely heard of it, but I don't.
If you
I've
Google
never read it.
Major Goobert, it's a comic book character already.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what are you trying to fucking do? Like, you're gonna ruin my reputation, and I'm gonna get into a lawsuit. What the fuck, dude? And I was like, I can't trust that anything else isn't a copyright issue now. So, what am I gonna do? And they're like, oh, we'll just change it to Magi. And I'm like, fuck, he's still in the book. And then I was like doing the Skype call with them, and I thought that the writer would be like this middleman, and instead they both kind of ganged up on me. And when I wanted to go through, and this was like 2 years now from like starting this campaign, and I'm just like, backers are pissed, people are pissed, they're like up my ass, not your ass, because you have no face and name out there in the world. It's my name, my reputation on the line here. And like, I need to see like a, what is it called? Oh my God, I'm not like pregnancy brain, I swear. What is it called when you like sketch each page? Storyboard. There we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we need to storyboard each page. Like, let's get out whatever pages you have. Let's put like, because since the script wasn't in a script format, there wasn't like page 1, this happens, page 2, that happens. It was just like paragraphs. So I was like, I don't know what page is what action is happening on each page. Let's go through, let's do the hard work. And it was really difficult to deal with. He was just constantly drinking like whiskey and then like fucking things up. And it was just like, it was like, you know, when you're in a meeting where someone just wants to go through the motions of having a meeting, but nothing's actually being accomplished.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was dealing with. And I kept having to like, you know, motherly or like be like the teacher and like, okay, page 1, what's happening here? Okay, put that part of the script into that page if it's blank. Okay, page 2, it's and like I was going through, and then we got to like half the book, and then they were like, okay, great, that was a great meeting, and I was like, no, we had 2 years for this. Okay, I need a storyboard now. And I don't care how late it gets. You're in California. You're way behind me. So it's later for me than, I was in England at the time. So it was even way like middle of the night for me. It was like midday for them. And I was like, we are doing this. No. Don't get off the Skype. And they ganged up on me and was just like, Martina, you don't understand how the process works.
Oh, give me a
You
break.
don't understand the artistic process. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, these people. And I just got like ganged up on, and I felt like I was really abused. And I just like got off that call, and I talked to my husband, and I went, I think I need to let go of the thousands of dollars I spent on him and start over again. Hire a new team, do it all from scratch all over again. Fuck the thousands of dollars that I spent on him. Like, it's not worth it. I can't do it. This is not happening. And he made excuses after excuses about like the pages. And I was like, okay, by October 15th, we need, what I said, half the book or like 30 pages or something. I was like, this is the deadline for this many pages. And that was like a month and a half in advance. And he goes, okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, totally. I'm like, okay, great. And I'm the kind of boss where like, I let you do what you want to do. I'm not up your ass every day. I'm not, bothering you. Do your work. October 15th comes around. Don't hear from him. Jesus. And I'm just like, okay, let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow comes around. Don't hear from him. And then I'm just like, okay, dude, October 15th was the deadline. You had a month and a half to come up with some more pages. Like, where are we at? And it's like, oh, yeah, it'll be ready by the weekend. Oh. And then the weekend comes. And then it's like, by Sunday. Sunday comes. And I'm just like, dude, need the fucking pages. And I was like starting to get like my and now I'm like, I've had enough. Like, no more nice guy. And he sends me 14 pages. And I'm like, it's been 2 years. And I have 14 pages, dude. And it's all Major Gruber. And I like flipped out and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, it's like, I have like other gigs I need to work on. This is so much work. And like, I gotta eat, wow. I gotta pay rent. And I'm like, yes, I paid you money. You're acting like I'm asking for free work here. It's not free work. You owe me this now. And so anyway, in the end, after this like conversation on Skype, I was like, I need to rip the Band-Aid off. Like, it's done. Like, say goodbye to the money. Like, I'm over it. At this point, now I'm not trying to salvage. I'm like, it's starting over again. So I sent them a firing letter, explained to them all of the issues that I had, including like the copyright issues and like all the mistakes that they made and that they're not like doing things on deadline and blah, blah, blah. And after that, instead of just taking the money and hiding in shame, they decided to file a lawsuit against me.
Good Jesus.
And go on podcasts and talk about how I'm such an evil woman and how I like stole the project from them, that the Indiegogo campaign was theirs and I locked them out and stole it when I've been paying taxes on it the whole time. And speaking of taxes, they claim that I committed tax fraud and that I used the money for vacations and that the book is not happening. I spent all the money. Yeah, isn't that funny how I spent all the money? You mean on your friends and all your buddies and all the things you said, money, I need more money. Pay this guy, pay that guy.
I mean, to me, the first red flag for me was just right at the beginning when you said that he was demanding all the money up front. I've never dealt with an artist who's done that.
I know, and I didn't know. Now I know because I hired a new team. I like went through the process, and I had a lot of Comscape people help me out and said, "This is what you need to do." Blah blah. And I was like, "Okay." So now I've like now I've done it legitimately, and it's here, and I have a book. But when I was starting out, I didn't know. I didn't know any of this. And not only did I give him those thousands of dollars in the beginning, but when it was difficult to get pages out of him later on, like a year and a half, 2 years later, and he would complain about money, I thought it would be an incentive, like, to give him a little bit more money. He, like, asked for a little bit more. This time, a few $100s. So I was like, sure, okay, here's a few $100s. Like, it didn't incentivize him to work anymore. It was just like siphoning money from me, and I was getting nothing. And what I was getting was Major Gruber. Like, there was no Lady Alchemy pages. I was like, what the fuck?
That amazing hero.
So then they went on podcast saying that I committed tax fraud, which is a bizarre thing to say because, like, and they're saying that the campaign is theirs, which doesn't make sense because, like, if the campaign was there, like, you can't change the campaign. If you've ever done an Indiegogo, you can't just, like, steal an Indiegogo account. It's locked. Like, owner is locked once you go live, and once you go live, it's locked. And as soon as you start getting donations in, it's locked in. Like, you can't change it. So that's a lie. He just lies. And then also, like, I have the tax forms, like, because when you make so much money on Indiegogo, like, you get the proper, like, what is it, like 1040 or something, 1099, like, from Indiegogo. And, like, I have the tax forms from, like, 2018, but he claimed I stole it December 2019. And I'm like, well, then how come I was the one paying the taxes on it? If you own it, show me your tax forms. And it's just like, why would you own the Lady Alchemy campaign? I'm Lady Alchemy. Like, who the fuck are you? Your name was nowhere. Wouldn't
it be called Major Gruber?
He did not use his real name on a single thing out there except the lawsuit because he had to. So it's like, what are you trying to claim is yours? So then when I hired a new team, obviously I sent my old artist a bunch of images of me and, like, performing and, like, kind of the venue I worked at, and I was like, here, do this, do that, you know. And so some of the art he did was literally an image of me that he just put, like, a filter on and, like, pasted it into, like, the picture. He didn't even actually draw it. So that's a copyright, like, issue in itself because he doesn't own that image. But he took all the artwork I paid for, the thousands of dollars I paid him to draw of me. He took that artwork and then he filed copyright of it. He said he's the copyright owner of those images.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And the reason he did that is because you have to file a copyright of the work in order to take someone to copyright court for in federal court. So then he filed a lawsuit. He's got, like, a buddy lawyer in California that just, like, I don't know why, just, like, does whatever he wants. Just like, let's get her. And was just like, it was vile. Like, I'm telling you, this is some, like, Chris Chan type shit because, like, those documents, I could whip them out. Like, the court filings were like War and Peace. It's, like, that thick. And it was all just like, here's my script, here's my artwork. Look at the artwork, like, my artwork. And she's stealing it because it's like, he'd then show my current artist's artwork and be like, see, she's stealing it. I go, it's literally me. You were paid to draw me and then got fired. Now he's paid to draw me. So if there's similarities, it's because it's literally me that you guys were both drawing. So then he was getting down, I was doing the copyright infringement, like, things, you know, getting it shut down my Indiegogo campaign. He was shutting down my YouTube if I ever spoke a word about him. He was shutting down my websites. He was shutting everything down. My campaign was down for a while. Everything was down. My website, everything was shut down. And it stayed down because there was a lawsuit. So if you know, when you file, like, the copyright claim, like, issue on the internet, they'll shut it down and then you have 14 days to refute it. You refute it, then they go back to the person making the claim and say, this is going back up unless you have a lawsuit filed. And they go, we do have a lawsuit filed. So then they go to me and say, yeah, this isn't going back up until the lawsuit's, or, like, because there's a lawsuit, like, in progress. So it keeps it down. Yeah, and in the lawsuit, it was nasty, man. Like they were lying. They were again saying that they owned the Indiegogo campaign and that how I stole it from them. And it's like, what does this old judge know about Indiegogo? Like he doesn't know. He doesn't know these details. He doesn't know what's going on. But the whole thing is that like they didn't have any jurisdiction in California. So my lawyers weren't getting into like the details of it. We were not fighting and nitpicking on things. We were just going no jurisdiction, like no jurisdiction in California. And then every time they'd come back and go, oh, well, she did this and she did that. And she's trying to evade service by fleeing to England. I'm like, my husband, I haven't seen my husband in a year. It was 2020. COVID happened. I didn't see him for a year. And I'm trying to have a baby. I'm in my mid 30s. Like, I went to see my husband that I didn't see for a year. That's like fleeing to you. Like they would say things like that. And then it's like, oh, she's evading service and fled to England and birthed a child there. I go, first of all, I don't have any children yet. You made that up. What do you know about my personal life? Like, what are you saying? It was crazy. And it was really, plus I was trying for a baby. So it was like also hurtful because it was like you're lying. Like, and like, yeah, I'm trying to have a baby. So like, what the fuck?
I mean, the audacity is off the charts.
Exactly. And then he would go on stream acting like I'm the bad guy. Oh, big bad Martina. She's so dumb. I did everything and she's just a bimbo on a screen. But at the same time, she's such an evil genius that she stole all this stuff from me and the campaign and the money and she spent it on lavish vacation. What vacation have I been on? You mean I lived in England because I worked for Rebel in England?
Doesn't he know that like you having paid him, you most likely had record of paying him?
I have a record of everything, and I paid him as a freelance artist, and his invoice said Lady Alchemy comic book art. So
good God.
How come you're the owner and then I'm paying you for the art? Like, how does any of this make sense? How does any of it make sense? So it would have been amazing if it actually did go to court and we could fight all this out and just show all the lies. But he used the internet that like loves this drama, and me being like a public like internet girl, it was like he really tapped into that kind of scene to like get people to hate on me and say like, ooh, she's scamming people. Ooh, look what she did here. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like a nobody. His face and name is not out there. So it's like he gets to just make all these claims, and I'm the evil, bad internet girl that like stole all this shit and like scammed people out of money. And it was just like none of what he was saying is true. He's like a psychopath. I think if you look up traits of a psychopath, it was him. And it was like the daring lies, like in court, like court documents, just flat out lies, like what he was making. Like he was conflating my website sales with the Indiegogo sales, because like he had access to my stamps.com account when I had him mailing something when I was in England to some of the backers, and he didn't give up access to that because which is what you do when you stop working for someone. It's like, when I stopped working for Daily Caller, I don't have access to their inside website anymore. Like you give up rights to it. So I forgot all the things I like gave him access to, but he had access to that. And then he saw that I was mailing some things out just simply from my stamps.com account, that I mailed things. And he goes, see, because like I'm the rightful owner, I can see that she mailed things from the Indiegogo account, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with Indiegogo. You don't have access to the Indiegogo because I locked you out, remember? So like, you know what I mean? Like none of the things he said made sense. And I was like, you just lied to the courts. Like that's literally perjury. Like you conflated one thing because you know that like the courts and the judge won't know, they don't know Indiegogo and stamps.com and what my Wix website, like they don't know the ins and outs. God. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, it's a crazy story and there's so many details, and he's this psychopath, but I fought it hard, and the lawsuit was dismissed, and then I finished the book.
Well,
So
good
I'm sorry
Lord.
for that whole story.
No, I mean, that's what I wanted to hear, you know, because I was curious about it. Because, I mean, it's just so unusual. Like, all of it. Like, I've never met an art. I've dealt with a couple of artists already. I mean, I'm still very new. But, yeah, like, the artists I've dealt with, it's always been like pay per page, or like if we're gonna work something out, we talk about it ahead of time.
Right. Well, I mean, I would say that's the norm. I was dealing with someone that wasn't particularly a comic book artist. He was an illustrator, general illustrator, and he wanted to get into this whole comic skate scene and the comic scene because he saw me as like the platform, like the avenue to kind of get in on something. So it was very a unique situation. I would be wary of anyone because anyone can screw you over. And your friends could, I mean, he was like a friend of mine and he like did all this, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't think it's the norm, really, unfortunately, for me. Of course, that came my way. And the fact that it's not the norm is why parts of the internet were kind of like they're not understanding how someone can lie and do all this. Like, it just like, how does it make sense? Like, what did she, like, she's got to be like wrong about something here. And yeah, what I'm wrong about is being naive and stupid at times. Like overly trusting of people, like throwing money away at people because I just want to be nice and make sure that they're taken care of. And my new team will tell you the same thing. It's not like that character changed in me really, because they'll
I wouldn't
tell
say
you
that's
that
a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they'll tell you right away, like anyone that I worked with on my team, all these people, Dario and like my colorist, Eric Weathers, like anyone, Von Klaus, they'll say, she instantly was like, here you go, here's your money. Like, yeah. No problems. Like, it is just, I want to make people happy and I want to do my part, and my part is giving you the money. So we're all happy, right? Like, there's no waiting around on money or what's she going to pay me kind of, nope. I want you taken care of, and I want it marked off on my spreadsheet. And get, let's get this formula going for whatever else I have to pay for.
Well, hell yeah. But I mean, all's well that ends well, because we got the actual book right up here.
Yeah, man.
So give us kind of a rundown of what this book is. I mean, you don't have to give away spoilers, but right. Just like, let us know what it's about, per se.
Well, so she's a performer in New York City. And I'm just trying to like find the right words of like where I want to go with this. I don't want to be so long-winded about it. But again, there's the bloodline thing. So she kind of finds out things about herself, that she's just like has this unique like bloodline thing, and she's like a performer. There's like this lady, there you go, Vinia down there, who is kind of like this, embodies like this entity of like that can like make you a star and can like turn you, there's always that like the Hollywood kind of thing where it's like they have that power to make you somebody. And she offers Lady Alchemy that, and there's like this event with like the elites, like the whole Illuminati like elites of the world kind of party, Illuminati ball type thing event. And then there's like things start happening where, and she finds out about bloodline, so she goes to like this bookstore and meets like William, and William is modeled after like my real ex-step grandfather named William.
Oh,
so he's not blood related to me, but he is someone I grew up with since I was a child and married my grandmother, and he died, and this is just my tribute to him as being like my like guide, you know. And he was also a mathematician. I studied math, and so he's kind of like my what is it called in Batman? I always forget his name. Where there's like the old man in the cave that like
Alfred.
Alfred. I knew it was an A. I was thinking Arthur. Yeah, so he's kind of like my Alfred, you know. He's like my man, and he like gives me like this book because he owns this bookstore of the Bundesliga, and it's a real alchemy book, which actually I've seen and held in real life, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
And and it's like some 16th century alchemy book, and it's actually a picture book. It's the Bundesliga, which is Latin for the mute book. So there's no like words. I mean, and there is in the beginning, like the first like cover page, but it's all just like a lot of symbols and like imageries and stuff. And which I think is kind of cool because it's kind of like a comic book, you know. Comic book is a very visual book, so it's kind of cool. And so the Bundesliga kind of teaches me how to like do alchemy and like a little bit more of like the Nephilim thing and, you know, all this stuff. And then when I do this performance with the elite for the elites and stuff, it's actually summoning real demons onto stage, and it's like luring me into this like Faustian kind of deal of like fame and fortune. And the thing is, people don't understand, demons aren't just like, oh, it's bad and scary. It's kind of like seductive. It's like it's
temptation.
It's like temptation. Like this demon is giving me this, what it would feel like to have such power, artistic power on stage and it's like, who would say no to that? You know, like everyone's tempted to go, fuck it, yeah, let's go. But my like little bit of like alchemy kind of research and my intuition was just like, no, I can't do this, which kind of pisses off Vinia and like fucks up her whole party. And William sends me off upstate into the countryside where I become one with nature and I start doing alchemy, like laboratory work. And then I transmute into, you know, Lady Alchemy with the powers and go back to the city and kind of resolve things.
Hell yeah. I really like your focus on, I guess, what I would call kind of mystic aspects to Christianity, and I'm assuming maybe a little bit of like Judaism and like maybe some Islam.
I mean, I'm not so familiar with the Islam stuff, so I don't really know. I think, you know, Judaism and Christianity is far older than Islam, so there may be overlaps just by default. But alchemy definitely has a lot of like, you know, there's like the Jewish mysticism, there's like the Kabbalah and like shit like that in it. So I definitely know about things like that, but I was raised Catholic, so I really like the Christian side of all that, and that's definitely where I get a lot of like Nefarious demon is like, you can actually find that in some, you know, Christian demon kind of grimoire. Is that how you say it? And also Vinia is also like, I was researching the Christian demons and just like really obscure ones, not like Beelzebub or like something, you know, like I'm not trying to do like, and now we have Satan or something. It's like I wanted to find some really like obscure kind of demons and stuff and kind of make them fit. So I didn't change who they are, but like I kind of utilized what they are for my book. Oh yeah, and then there's the archangels. So part of some real magic in alchemy is like the LBR ritual, doing like different rituals where you call upon like the archangels to kind of surround you and be like your protective shield. And they each have their individual powers. Like, so some of them, like Michael, everyone knows like Archangel Michael is the warrior. He's got the sword, he's fire, he's, you know, he's the warrior one. And there's like Gabriel, Raphael, and like, you know, one of them is like more
Uriel. I remember reading about Uriel back in the day, because I know like he's kind of a lesser known of them.
Yeah, he's like the nature one or something. God, I should have had them kind of appear a bit more in the book. Maybe when I was upstate doing the the nature stuff. It was just tough, man. I was trying to get this book out, and I wanted it to be good, and I wanted to have all this depth in it and things that I was really into. But at the same time, there was only so much and only so much money on pages. So it was like, I wished I could kind of elaborate a little bit more, because there's times where, you know, there was, I don't want to give it away, but like a health thing, or someone's life was in jeopardy, and then there's like Raphael who does that. He's like more of like the medicinal one or whatever, or like health or something. And it's just like, there was like a moment with him, but I wish we could elaborate a little bit more. And then there was like, yeah, the Uriel one is like, oh, I should have used him more like when I was upstate and being one with nature, because that's also part of my story, is the duality between New York City, Gotham City, and then like upstate with this beautiful nature, and you're out in the country, and like most people don't know about upstate, but it's just like really beautiful. And that is kind of what resonates for me in real life. I was born in the city, but I grew up upstate, and then I like went to NYU in the 2000s, and I've been like a city gal. But I love both. Like both are part of my life. Like I'm not one or the other kind of person. Like I want to have a home in the upstate and in the city, you know, and they both have their things to them. But something that I always did was like escape the city to kind of recalibrate, get one with nature, kind of create more routines and like costumes and ideas through nature, through like, you know, tapping into my soul and like God, and reading about alchemy. And my inspirations didn't come from the city of like other people and copying what other people do. It came from like inside.
Absolutely. It's the best way to be.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for like a sequel, or like to continue it on as maybe a series?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely have ideas for book 2. And I don't know if I want to give it away yet. But it's just I end up you know, with Williams, at Williams bookstore, and I start. So the real William in my life, he worked at IBM. He was like a big like C++ computers and stuff like that. And so I kind of get on his computers and get into his stuff, and he's not really around anymore. And I tap into like the internet world a little bit more, and the demons and spirits and energies, entities that are kind of on there, which parallels my real life, because you know that's what happened after I got blacklisted in real life. Like my world became on the internet.
Yeah, I can say there's a lot of demons on the internet.
Yeah. And I, you know, get a lot of influence from William in his place, and dig into books a bit more, and things like that. And so there's things I want to elaborate on. That just shows how, you know, again, it was modeled after my real stuff. So, and it's kind of cool how that page came out from the inspiration photos that I gave the artists to and colorist.
Oh, I love all these pages. Like there's like a, I would say it's like a combination of modern and classic art going on there.
Thank you. That's exactly it. Yeah.
And if you ever want to take the story to New Orleans, you know who to call, because that's my area.
Cool. There's a lot of that spooky stuff going on over there. Sure.
Oh yeah, I'm New Orleans Catholic, which is almost it's almost a paradox, but you know.
Well, it's the thing. People often think that with me and the alchemy stuff, because they just think it's like witchcraft or something satanic, and I go, not really. Everything that I've ever learned in alchemy is like, they're talking about God, they're talking about archangels, they're talking about Jesus, like they're talking about the light, they're talking about positive, good things that like only bring me closer to my Catholic faith, but at an angle, you know, like it's like, oh my God, I remember learning about that in like Sunday school, but now I'm like learning it from a different angle perspective and going, oh, it makes more sense now. Cool.
And plus, I mean, it's like being a work of fiction, and especially like in comics, like this is very much kind of, you want to take on kind of that fun aspect of like superheroes, where
Yeah.
it's like, you're using special abilities to fight evil things, like
Yep.
I dig it. And
Thanks, man.
I have a copy of the book.
You do?
Unfortunately, I think I might have left it at my parents' house, so I gotta check because I've been looking for it. But I am planning on doing a review of it for my channel, so hopefully you'll be able to
Awesome.
check that out sometime pretty soon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Especially that there's a lot of bullshit out there about me being like a scammer and how like I'm not gonna fulfill and this and that. It's like gotta prove them all wrong and then put content out there being like, yeah, I have the book in my hand. It's right here. So
Absolutely. And I mean, no, like I think people are very quick to jump on that because they a lot of the detractors from things like Comicsgate and whatnot, they really want to sell you on the idea that like these are all just a bunch of scammers. They're all just there to take your
Right.
money and run. And all, like, a lot of that is just, it's worth ignoring most of that.
Mhm.
There have been a couple of folks who haven't been very good when it comes to delivering, but I don't view it as a scam. It's
Right.
just that things come up, sometimes projects fall through, and that's part of the risk you take when it comes to crowdfunding.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I had no experience doing this, so not only did I get caught up with some really evil people, which really parallels my book, man. I had some evil forces against me, just like in the book, and I never did this before. I've never made a comic book before, so it was a learning process. But it's there was no other option other than doing it. Like I don't care if I was still in the middle of a lawsuit, I would still be delivering the book because I'd be like, well, what you gonna do? You're already suing me. Let me just deliver.
Now I'm curious to check out that original script just to
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
because I love reading bad comics and I love reading bad scripts.
Oh,
It's
you're
a
in
passion.
for a treat.
And the fact that you were describing like the way he wrote your character as sounding like just a total damsel in distress from like the 30s. That just
I mean, you have to check it out.
Oh my lord. So yeah, and I wanted to bring this up just so you might want to be on the lookout. A lot of Indiegogo campaigns, including my own, have been dealing with there's been some shadow banning going on.
I've heard that.
And when I was trying to look up the campaign to share on the thing, I was having trouble finding it in the search results. I had to go on your Twitter
Really?
page. So
Interesting.
that might be that.
Interesting. Huh.
So like a lot of us are looking into different alternatives for launching our future stuff. Like I've been thinking about possibly Kickstarter if they've cleaned up their act.
Yeah, I've actually created like a Kickstarter campaign for this, but didn't launch it because I wanted to wait till I was like fulfilling, and then maybe I can like launch like I don't know the alternate cover option or something like on that one, and just kind of recoup from like some losses because things are coming out of my pocket now. At this point. With this lawsuit and the loss of having to rehire people and like all this like stuff that went on with me, I am at a loss. It doesn't mean that I'm not gonna make the book and I'm not gonna fulfill on things, but it's just gonna come out of my pocket. So it'd be nice to kind of close the gap and then start to be able to actually get on top of things instead of like trying to dig myself out of this hole that I'm in. So I was
Oh yeah,
considering,
no, that's.
was considering Kickstarter as well. Like I said, I made the page, but I never launched it yet. So
absolutely, yeah, and also there's a guy named Luke Stone who is currently working on a crowdfunding platform that specializes in crowdfunding comics. It's going to be called Fund My Comics, so be on the lookout for that because that might be a good option for you in the future. And yeah, so it's been a rough road getting there, but you released an awesome looking comic with a very unique and very, how do I put it? I was about to say occult, but that doesn't sound like it fits.
yeah,
You know, like mystical approach to sort of like the superhero genre.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate everything, and appreciate you wanting to have me on stream and everything and talk about it all. Cool.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, you know, anytime you want to come on and just chat, you are totally welcome.
Thanks.
And yeah, where can folks find you?
Find me, I guess, is the... Oh my god, actually, that's not my Twitter handle. Holy shit. Oh my god. That's not my handle on Twitter or Instagram. Oh my god, how do I change that? Nope. Oh well, it's Lady Alchemy 33. I always forget that. 33 is actually an esoteric number. So yeah, Lady Alchemy 33 on Twitter, Lady_Alchemy on Instagram. If you like the photography and the artwork and the whole aesthetic that I have going on, and you're into that, and not necessarily comics. So yeah, you should check that out. And also the website. There's lady-alchemy.com, and that has, in addition to Indiegogo, but that's also where I'm selling the book and prints and things like that as well, and has all my information on there.
Hell yeah. And I am, of course, your host, Ben, aka the Fuseboxx. And you can find me on Twitter at Knights Outlaw with an N, not a K. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Outlaw Knights. And you can find me on Facebook under my real name, Ben Fuselier, Fuselier. And yeah, if you like anything we had to say, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. Hell, if you didn't like anything we had to say, go ahead and hit the dislike button. It feeds me anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep thriving. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us once again, ladies and gentlemen. And we will talk to you all later.